Hello, my name is Jeff Morgan, and welcome to my podcast. Today's topic will be Barker Hall and Buell Armory at the University of Kentucky. Barker Hall and Buell Armory, named after the university's second president Henry S. Barker and Civil War General Don Carlos Buell, are located in the northern part of campus at the corner of Administration Drive and Patterson Drive. They were built originally in 1901 and are used today as home of the university's Army and Air Force ROTC programs. These buildings offer many amenities for the cadets to use, such as a basketball court, a small workout gym, a library, and multiple staff and faculty offices to help them with both military and academic concerns. Today we will be discussing the Barker Hall and Buell Armory with two guests. We have a current cadet in the university's Army ROTC program and a University of Kentucky student who has no current connection to either Barker Hall or Buell Armory. All right, so my first guest is Zach St. Hilaire. Zach is a cadet at the University of Kentucky's Army ROTC program. Zach, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so like Jeff said, I'm a second-year cadet at the ROTC program at UK. I'm a finance major, and I'm from Northern Kentucky.
All right. Zach, what is the day-to-day mood of the Barker Hall and Buell Armory?
So the day-to-day, it can kind of shift around. It depends on if we're doing training in there or not, because usually we're at the Seton Center doing PT and lab off campus. If we have lab or any kind of training in the drill hall, it's usually very serious. With our cadre there, they got to treat it like it's the Army atmosphere. And then on days off, we still have class. People are going to class in there. But we do have, lounges and people can go play basketball or work out. So it's pretty laid back on the days when we aren't doing actual training in there.
Okay. And how are the amenities that are available to you?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we have a gym. We have a drill hall that doubles as a basketball court. So it's a pretty big area. And then the library, it's kind of like a den where people can hang out and do homework. But we also have a library that has, a lot of history about the Army as well as other literature in there. The gym. It's obviously not an alumni gym, but it's got a couple racks in there. It's got treadmills, bikes, ropes, punching bags, stuff like that. So we definitely have a lot offered to us.
Okay, and can you comment on the rivalry between the Army ROTC cadets and the Air Force ROTC cadets?
Yeah, so obviously most people know there's the rivalry between the Army and Air Force that goes way back. On the cadet side, It's a lot of fun and games. We pick at each other. Obviously, we got our egos of which branch is better. Obviously, that's the Army. So a couple times throughout the year, they try to organize, little competitions we can do. The biggest ones towards the end of spring semester, we have like a flag football tournament, a ruck competition, which for anyone who doesn't know, that's basically a backpack that carries gear. We usually just put some weight in there, and then it's a determined distance and a determined time you have to complete it in. We usually always win because they never ruck. And then, we have, flag football, basketball games, tug of war, stuff like that. Obviously, the Air Force came up with the tug of war. So it's, there's always that rivalry, and the rivalry will continue outside of ROTC.
Okay. And then is there anything about Barker Hall and Buell Armory that you think can be improved upon?
Yeah, so definitely the infrastructure. So it's an old building. It was built in, 1906? The gym that we have is sitting above a basement that's on a wooden floor. And our gym actually just got shut down until further notice for us to use because the floor is deteriorating from dropping the weights and deemed unsafe now by the university. As far as anything else, we'd like to say we want, I guess you could say an arsenal for us to practice marksmanship, but obviously that would never fly with the university. We're able to use the rifle team's air rifle range downstairs. But that's, other than that, I don't really think there's much else they can improve on.
All right. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Barker Hall and Buell Armory have a long history at the University of Kentucky. In fact, they were founded, we were still referred to as State University. Barker Hall and Buell Armory have served many different purposes since its founding. Barker Hall was home to the very first UK basketball game all the way back in 1903. They even acted as an infirmary during the flu epidemic of 1918 and now serve as home to future military leaders.
I don't know much about them. I just know that there's a lot of them and they wake up really early in the morning and work out.
And what do you think could be improved about Barker Hall and Buell Armory?
I can tell just by walking by and seeing the buildings every day that they're really old. And I feel like since it's used for the military and ROTC stuff, that it should have up-to-date equipment and like newer buildings.
All right, thank you. The sound clip you just heard is from the cadets here at the University of Kentucky. It's a great example of the discipline required to be a future leader in the United States military. Each cadence is designed to keep the soldiers in the same step as the person in charge of the group who is calling the cadence. And even if it looks like they're just singing together, the cadence is actually very important to keeping the marching look as synchronized as possible. That's all we have for today's podcast on Barker Hall and Buell Armory. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.